no secret with the 1.6 update to Automobilista 2 that endurance racing is one of the huge focuses of this sim. And I think it's a great focus. Alongside that classic formula content, endurance racing has felt to me like one of the main things that this game had to offer. With its very convincing weather system and its day-to-night transitions, the overall look and feel of Automobilista 2, I think, has the potential to do this type of racing really well. So although it's the modern IMSA that's very much the intention, I've been driving all different types of classic cars this week just to get a bit of that endurance feel. So I bring to you a very much unrehearsed mini 1-hour accelerated endurance race in the fantastic GT1 cars, and perhaps my favorite version of, quote, modern Spa, just to experience a little bit of that endurance feeling and talk about some of the settings and things I think can make it a lot of fun. Now this is Spa. This is what I think of when I think of Spa-Francorchamps. Narrow, trees everywhere, public roads for part of it. This is a 1993 version of Spa-Francorchamps in Automobilista 2, and it is the version that I associate Spa with. Back in the 90s, watching Formula 1 race here, especially those wet races that they seem to have every single year. Then also experiencing basically this version of the course in GTR and GTR2. It is so much more narrow. The walls are closer, and there's obviously no paved runoffs and things, gravel traps, and of course the bus stop chicane at the end of the lap. I just really love this version. For the short course at Spa, I think this was the best version of it. In my mind, it could be that bit of nostalgia or that phenomenon where whatever you experienced first is the thing that you like the most, but I feel like this is the version of Spa that I hold in the highest regard. But I'm racing the GT1 cars here today, and this is a very cool set of cars that I quite enjoy in Automobilista 2. I'm actually surprised I haven't done a video with them before. We're set up for a 1-hour mini endurance race. They did not do a 24-hour race with these cars around this course back in the 90s, but we'll do something that I think would be plausible. And they did end up racing GT cars here for 24 hours eventually in the GT Championship, but not when these cars were in the class in the mid-90s, late 90s. I'm driving the Mercedes CLK, which was one of the two dominant cars in the class. It was the Porsche and Mercedes show. Sometimes the McLaren would be up there. But this class also has a Nissan in it, which I don't know if that one actually raced in Europe or not. But it's a cool car nonetheless. And I've got a custom skin pack on it. Started modding AMS2 again, just with how much I've been playing it. So we've got a custom skin pack which adds real drivers and real liveries to it from STV Robin on Overtake. And I've also got some custom cars added to this from Thunderflash. Not driven them, but they do function really well as AI opponents and probably drive well as well. But you'll see a couple more cars in here, Panoz and the Toyota GT1, which are very iconic and really complete this class and fit in quite nicely. But I'm curious to see how this goes. I've done a lot of racing with these, like I've said, but not this race yet around Spa. And if my other races are any indication, we really got to pay attention to the tires. I've got it about 3/4 of the way full of fuel, and we'll have to stop. I think I planned for 2 stops in this race. And well, hopefully the AI do the same. But we're starting towards the back, and I'll just see how far up I can get and just enjoy the ride for 1 hour here at Spa.
Go, go, go!
The line and down to La Source. I suppose they would have started these races on the downhill, but we'll take the F1 start line, accelerate out up the inside of that McLaren as we'll fly down towards Eau Rouge and Raidillon for the first time. And it's not trivial in these cars, especially with the setup I've got. 5th gear, just let off the throttle, make sure we don't understeer. As we head up the hill, the McLaren's going to get right on my rear wing. I've got an ultra low downforce setup on this just to make sure we can keep up or maybe even be a little bit faster in a straight line. out of second gear. I need to be ultra careful about the lockups. You can't see it quite the same as you can with an open wheel car. Like I was racing the kart cars quite a bit, the IndyCar. It's a lot easier to see when you get flat spots and try to prevent them and stuff, but they'll just kind of sneakily happen and absolutely trash the tires.
It's now 38 Celsius.
Of course, I do have Crew Chief running in the background just to help keep us up to date as we go here. But we're up to 26. You'll see there is a class split between the modded cars and the default ones. We can just ignore that. We'll treat everybody as if they're in the same class here today. Our huge prototype class, we would have raced, or the GT1 class would have been one class with more typical GT cars as well to race against. But sadly, we do not have those in AMS2, and we just have one big GT1 class of cars, but it is fun. I was actually doing a little reading on this just to brush up my memory and some of my knowledge on it, and I didn't realize that this was not considered a prototype class. It was to come in after Group C ended in the early 90s as the new top class, especially at Le Mans.
The track temperature is decreasing. It's now 34 Celsius.
And the cars themselves were essentially limited road-going cars. This will come out, as everybody gets a tank slapper. We got a slow car.
B17.
All right, a lot of chaos there. It's a Porsche, I think, rejoined across the track. We'll take the freebies, though. Hopefully not indicative of what's to come. Up to 22nd after that. Got a nice chain of cars in front, though. We'll see if we can get a good run down the Kemmel Straight. So we're going to be a little bit faster up the hill, and I understeer there at the top. I have to get out of it. Got a Nissan coming up behind me. The spot though. Yeah, these cars were essentially limited production, and I think the best example of that is the McLaren F1, which was actually a road car. And the racing variant, although I'm sure very different from the actual road car, was still somewhat similar looking. The Mercedes here, the Porsche, they're laughably different looking than the road cars. I think at some point they really relaxed the rules. I believe both of these cars are kind of V2 versions of the GT1 spec, but yeah, it's a very, very interesting class. Kind of short-lived, so it wasn't long until the LMP class took over. But it's really neat to have them in a sim like this, because I've only ever seen these cars as like an R-Factor mod or a Sports Car GT mod back in the day. Let's run a bit wide there. I guess that's when they were contemporary, back in the Sports Car GT days. All right, down towards Blanchimont. It's not a trivial corner in this car either, especially early on, as we got a bunch of cars fighting for position in front. I missed the apex, run a bit wide. Brake right at the Opel sign here for the bus stop.
210, 168.
See if it's a little less dramatic this time coming out. Whoa, bit of a tank slapper there. Yeah, it seems like we're fishtailing coming out of the bus stop.
Temperature is increasing. It's now 38 Celsius. Sweet pass, mate.
Trying to rock around the outside there, but whoa, big tank slapper on the exit. Side by side with one of the Gulf McLarens. Very cool livery. In 20th, I feel like I passed a lot of cars already, but we're actually still quite deep in the field. And I think I mentioned we have it on time acceleration, so we'll do a full day-night-day cycle, which is something I love.
Collard ahead is now 0.5.
I love doing it in this game because it does the weather transitions and the day-to-night transitions just so incredibly well. I do think it's one of the best ways to show off just how great this game looks, but also just gives you that immersive feeling. And I've started doing something new, which I think is an interesting way to do it, where I really like having more random weather than a default setting.
Make them work for it.
I really want the weather to be a little more dynamic, and in the game you get a couple options. You can either set a specific weather pattern, or you can put it on random, which truly is random. It'll choose just random weather. So if you want weather, whoa, there's a big hold up in front. McLaren spun out on the apex there. So we'll pick up even more spots from that. 4 more spots through all that. It definitely slowed us up though. So if some folks got by that without slowing down, we're going to be pretty far behind them now. Slide it through the bus stop there. It's not good to slide the tires too much. So we'll get a nice run as everybody takes the crazy line out. Seem to find myself on the outside line all the time through La Source, right up to the tires.
Slower car.
All right, we'll get around them though. They're side by side as we head down to Eau Rouge. There we go. Dips in behind. Able to make it stick, almost runs wide, maybe the aero wash caught him out, but got him. So you can pick random weather, which is a fun way to just experience all the different conditions that the game has, but if you wanted to do something like transition a few different weather...
The gap to Patrese behind is increasing. It's now 1.0 seconds.
It's interesting, Riccardo Patrese. I did not know he was still driving in the late 90s, but yeah, if you wanted to do something where it was plausible weather, but random really just gives you anything. So you might have fog transitioning to bright sun, to heavy rain. It really doesn't make sense most of the time. So what I've started doing, my long-winded way of saying, is setting the weather to real-world weather, which allows you to run the weather on a specific day, but then using a random number to pick a random day. So I'll decide what month I want, but then I'll have it decide any number between 1 and 30 and then just pick a random day. And so you end up with effectively random weather, but realistic weather. And I've had all kinds of cool weather conditions that maybe the track starts off wet and dries out, or there's a rain shower coming, and it just feels a lot more realistic than a pure random weather, but also leaves it so that you as the driver, the player, don't exactly know what's happening. As we've got a Panoz in front of me here. Get up on the left side. Eric Bernard, know him from Formula 1. We'll get around though. Out drag him. I think this would be a
fastest lap for Soper, 209.95.
I think in a straight line the Mercedes was probably a bit quicker than the Panoz anyway. At least aerodynamically looks like it would be. Alright, we'll get through that. I'm actually going to click on my lights.
Jake, you're reeling Cox.
It's just about that time where it's golden hour. This is when everything always looks the best, both in the real world and in the sim. Just at dawn and at dusk, there's that very, very crucial time where the sun just makes everything look great. It is such an immersive game, Automobilista 2. Part of my enjoyment in it this week hasn't even necessarily been 1.6, although I'm taking advantage of everything that update has to offer. It's just coming back to the game after not playing it for a little while. I'm sure others have the same experience where I'm just having fun with some of these cars and tracks again that I haven't experienced in a little while. And this is a combination I actually did on LFM, Low Fuel Motorsport, the online integration it now has, and thought it might be fun to actually do a longer race here with some AI. Check it out.
The gap to Patrese behind is now 2.0 seconds.
So far it's been a little more chaotic than I was hoping with. It looks a little more like that online races. We got another car spun out there to the right. Get another free spot up to 13th. I've got the AI on 110% in medium aggression, and and I do have the custom AI set in, so maybe some of the behavior is because of that. Maybe can't necessarily blame the update.
You've used half your fuel.
Alright, we're halfway through the fuel I started with, which is pretty good. We're about, 11 minutes in, so I want to make it to at least 40 minutes to go. That would get us on a perfect 2-stop strategy, and I hope the other AI do the same. When I was testing, you can take a little bit more fuel in the car. 100 liters is the max.
In front is now 2.4 P9. Your lap time was 2:11.00. That's your best lap in this session. The track temperature is falling. It's now 35 Celsius.
Alright, thank you, Jim. Hey, you can take 100 liters full tank, which is just a little bit less than what you need
of fuel remaining
to make it on one stop. And so I'm interested to see if any of the AI actually stretch that and do a one-stopper, or if everybody does two. So far, they're all out on the track, so it doesn't appear as though anybody's doing 3 stops. See the moon coming up now. Still some clouds out, though. I don't know if it's going to rain or not. There isn't, as far as I can tell, a way to see the forecast. Although I guess you could go look at what the weather was, but it'd be kind of a spoiler for it. And the whole reason why I'm doing the real world weather thing is to not know what's going to happen. So I'm just going to experience it as it goes. I have had a little bit of funkiness in doing that, especially with the transition conditions. The AI do pretty well if it never rains. But if there is rain, the switch from wet to dry or dry to wet, it feels a little bit all over the place. Sometimes they do it quite well, and other times they might choose the wrong tire. Even though the track is just about to dry out, they might start the race on, wet tires and then pit a lap into it, which definitely happens in real life. And maybe in those scenarios, you just got to pretend like the sport governing body told everybody they had to start on wets or something. But that type of stuff takes a little bit of the edge out of it. Balance it coming onto the straight here. Cars up front are awful quick, so I don't know how far up we'll actually get, but maybe through strategy, through the pits, we'll be a little bit faster. I'm not sure.
Was at 2:10.43. That's your quickest lap in this session. The track temperature's decreasing. It's now 33 Celsius.
All right. I guess because of the time acceleration, the temperatures and things are changing very fast, so they're keeping me updated to it. But
the gap to Cox in front is now 2.1 seconds.
A little bit slow on the entry there. Yeah, I've noticed that cars are harder to drive than they used to be. You just can't abuse them quite as much. If you put them into a really high-speed corner too aggressively or touch the curbing, it's a lot easier to spin out when you do something bad than it used to be. The cars still behave, I would say, in a forgiving way, but it is a lot easier to make mistakes than it used to be, which is the general trend I've noticed since 1.6. It's not that the cars really drive that much different in my mind, but it is slightly easier to overstep the boundaries of adhesion, and I think that's good. You should get punished for mistakes that you make. As you can see, the start-finish there all lit up in the distance. I try to do my best to brighten up the video to make it viewable. It's always difficult to record nighttime. But if you like these kind of cars or this type of racing, there are so many tracks in this now. And I think the sim's really been...
Air temperature's decreasing. It's now 21 Celsius.
It's really been built up to do 2 things at this point. It's classic formula racing and endurance racing. And I guess between these and the Group C cars, there's a little bit of that classic stuff in there. I would love to see more classes. Like I said, for this, it would be awesome to have the regular GT cars.
The leader's pitting now.
Oh, interesting. We're pitting 44 minutes. It might be a 3-stopper. We're going to stay out. We're going to fully do a realistic strategy here for myself and just see how it works out. Seem to have stalled out on progress, but yeah, a bunch of cars in the pits, still some staying out.
Tracy is getting closer. The gap's now 1.2 seconds.
Tracy's got a little bit of speed behind me. Tracy, if you're not familiar with him, was a fairly prominent Formula One driver for many years, racing in his late career for Williams. But I want to say left F1, well, I'll probably get it wrong, but I want to say maybe around 93 was his final season. And so I wasn't aware that he came over to sports car racing, but that makes sense. That's the natural trajectory.
5 minutes of fuel left.
And 5 minutes of fuel, so one more lap, probably.
The gap to Cox ahead is increasing. It's now 3.7 seconds.
They also did do the out lap on this tank of fuel, so I think I'll fill it. And I think I'll change tires, although we'll see. The tires aren't super worn yet, but trust me, they fall off awful quick. Wide there. Try not to do the Schumacher spin on the exit. Yeah, it's nice to see some of the mods and things work in 1.6. The Thunderflash, that has a lot of these converted cars and additional cars for the game, has updated all their mods to be compatible, and installing them with AMS2 Content Manager, it's very easy to get them all working. How well they drive and things, I'm not quite sure. I haven't ever really played around with too many of the modded cars, but
the leader, Schneider, is pitting.
Definitely looking to explore some of that.
Soper is now leading.
We got a lot of leader swapping because folks are coming into the pits. Be interested to see if some of these guys still stay out and at least have some cars on my strategy with me. So come out. Looks like the majority of pit. No, there's still a few though. Interesting.
You've just done a 211.32. The track temperature is falling. It's now 20 Celsius. Air temperature is falling. It's now 19 Celsius.
Right. I'm going to look at the pit stop stuff, which I realize is behind my controls and everything that I'm showing you, but we got it all set up correctly. Fill it up to add 70 liters to it, and change the tires, and hopefully that all works
Very
out.
little fuel left. Hit this lap. In this lap.
All right. We'll pit this lap.
Front tires are cold.
We'll be just about 40 minutes when we come out of the pit, so it's perfect. Timed it out perfectly.
Okay, pit stop requested.
Make sure we request the pit stop. I know in the G Motor games, though, R Factor and R Factor 2, you'd get a penalty, or GTR2 as well. You'd get a penalty, not a starting penalty, but the crew would be slow if you didn't request your stop. That extends all the way back into the Formula One games. I'm not sure if that's true in AMS2, but it's always a good habit. But I can see, noticing something here where all the cars that have stayed out in front of me are the modded ones, and so maybe we've got some difference in strategy between the default and the modded. At least gives me somebody to race against up front, but that'll be something to look at, maybe fixing if it's even possible.
Jake, you'll be coming out into traffic. When we exit the pits, we should be in P7, immediately behind McNish. Pit crew is ready. We're running on fumes now. In this lap, box this lap.
Alright, we are going to pit this lap. It says we're going to come out near Alan McNish, which in 7th, that's very good. I was running about 13th before pit stop started at all. So we'll see if that's true. Sometimes crew chief can get that wrong. Come through the chicane though. See if these guys pit maybe. They're going to stay out.
Look out for the pit speed limit.
Alright. Empty pit lane for us to come into.
Temperature's increasing. It's now 28 Celsius.
So we'll let the crew do their work. They change, or they do fuel first before they do the tires, just like in real life sports car racing, which I found interesting. There's no setting, as far as I could tell, to determine that, but it must be bound to the specific car type. That I know when I race the Indy cars, they do fuel and tires at the same time, whereas this just does them separately like you would in real sports car racing. So hopefully the modded cars do that as well. It's a little discouraging to see them still out there, but we'll see how far they go, and if they only pit once, we'll definitely have somebody to catch up to towards the end here.
Go, go, go.
Right, there we go, tires are done. come out of the pits. I've lost a lot of time.
Behind, watch your mirrors, don't cross the white line.
Try not to cross the white line, although I don't think we'll get a penalty for it here. Down to 16.
Brakes all round, be careful.
So I've lost 3 spots since before the pit stops even started. Just be nice and careful up the hill. We got very cold tires now. Nobody immediately behind me, which is good. And a couple cars not too far up the road, so
is reeling you in. The gap is now 1.7.
it's all right. Won't worry about it too much. We'll see if we can gain on these cars in front. Maybe they didn't take tires. It definitely felt like it would be possible to do a double stint, but as they're very cold. Come on. Just try not to lock them up. Now's the easiest time to lock up the tires, and it would be the absolute worst time to do it your very first lap out. So I thought we had plenty of gap behind me, but here comes 17th. The inside, just on the edge of locking up the tires as they're finally coming to life. Cheating a little bit with the tire gauge.
Temps falling. It's now 17 Celsius.
But I really actually like seeing the tire gauge because I just find the tires in this game so dynamic feeling. You can really, really feel the difference between cold and hot tires and tires that you've thrashed through locking up or just abusing. It's really not just a lack of grip. They have a very different characteristic to them that I like. I don't know if it's realistic, as here comes the Nissan coming up behind. Let's go to the bus stop. Oh, we're going to be side by side almost. It's very kind to me there. All right, we'll come out there side by side, holding each other up. Is anybody in the pits this time?
The track temperature's decreasing. It's now 18 Celsius.
So crew chief is concentrating on my class position, but we're 16th. Yeah, I don't know if how much you can feel the difference in the tires is realistic, but I like that you can feel it. It's just something different than a lot of other games, at least in my experience. The fronts there.
Ahead is now 5.6.
Seems like I've been able to get temperature into the rears, but not the fronts. I guess I could move my brake bias forward a little bit. Might be too much. It's gonna make me understeer, but I can actually, I don't know if that's a placebo thing or I was just getting to the point where they're heating up, but they do seem to have sparked to life slightly there. Keep it that way for a couple corners, but I do need to pull the brake bias back again. Difficult here for Poulon. So we got the Nissan right on me again. Just keeping me nice and busy in the mirror. I'm just trying not to even look at it. I found that they, like I said, they won't hit you, but you can pit maneuver yourself. If they get beside you, you do have to be careful. But if they're right behind you, they won't hit you. Which is it's a weird thing. I don't like how they hound you like that because it's just not realistic to what racing cars actually do. He's got a nice run here, but not able to get alongside me. We'll come up to Blanchimont. Whoa, right on the curbing there. Man, I am slow now. We're putting our brake bias back. I locked up the front slightly there. Not sure what it was set to before, but in a real car, at least an older car, you wouldn't have a number for your brake bias. It's just a knob that you turn. 60, 40, probably 58.
It's all over you. Keep your exit speeds up. Stay smooth.
If you're not familiar with using brake bias, it's just controlling how much braking is going to the front tires versus the rear. If you had a 50-50 braking, it probably would mean you'd spin out going into the corners because you don't want the rears to brake that much, as here comes the Nissan on the inside. That was laps in the making. So hop the curb a little bit there. I'll see if we can sandwich ourselves between the two teammates here. I just don't have the speed right now. I'm not sure why. Yeah, 50-50 would be far too much rearward. It means you would essentially lock the rears at the same time as the fronts if you're getting to that point with the brakes. But commonly with race cars, you'll have a little more towards the front because it will mean the car won't spin out coming into the corners. You'll lock the fronts first before the rears. So we'll keep it to the inside here and try to block the line. But you can use it to your advantage to help control how the car enters corners. So if you move the brake bias rearward, it'll help create a little bit of oversteer coming into the corners. If you find yourself almost swapping ends as you're on the brakes and turning in, then maybe you want to move that brake bias forwards. Creates a little more understeer. It's a very, very fine adjustment. It's not something that I would recommend playing with until you can do the same lap over and over and over again, but it is one of those things that can really help a little bit out of the car.
Temps falling. It's now 15 Celsius.
So it comes on the inside. Try to block him there. Maybe these guys are doing a short fill or something. I'm not sure.
Celsius.
Might be that track temp. Maybe Jim's been telling me the temperatures every 5 minutes here, but maybe it's because it's a little colder now. I'm just not able to get the grip that I need. We'll run a bit wide through Radeon, just able to hold on to it there. So we're going to get overtaken really quickly.
The gap in front is increasing. It's now 1.1.
Made a mess out of that.
The gap to Leistritz behind is now 1.3 seconds.
Really cool car, this Nissan in front. I like all these cars. I would say the Mercedes that I'm driving isn't my favorite visually, but it's the one, at least out of the few that I've driven so far in AMS2. I do like how this one drives the most. I find the Porsche is a little too understeery for me. Probably all something that you could get dialed in and out with a setup. The Nissan's a cool car, and McLaren F1 is so outrageous looking. It's very different than the others visually, and it is, I believe, the only one that is truly based on a road car, or has a road car that really matches it. I'm not sure these others, I mean, they look like pure racing machines to me, and I don't know what the homologation was, because this wasn't a prototype class, but clearly this CLK does not look like a CLK that I've seen before. I think the rules changed several times throughout the history of the class. All right, it's starting to get light out, thankfully, and we're just about halfway through the race. And it's been a really tricky one so far. I thought early on that I was going to have an easy time as those two jump into the pits with everybody else. So I think they must be pitting 3 times.
Increasing. It's now 27 Celsius.
Which is interesting, but I'm curious to see how this works out. And maybe pitting 3 times with lighter fuel would be a better option. I always complain about the AI strategy, but maybe they've got it figured out. We'll just see how it all plays out in the end.
We think about 13 minutes of fuel left.
We should make it easily to the 20-minute mark, and potentially could double stint the tires, although I think I locked the right front up a little bit when I was trying to hold on from that Nissan. Right up on the curbs. See all the hills suddenly appear in the distance, the silhouette of the trees. It's very natural looking. I love it. The skies are very clear now. We had a lot of clouds in the evening. but very clear, which for a morning is often the case. You don't have as many clouds, especially more rain-type clouds, less likely to build up in the early hours because it's a bit cooler. If anybody's curious, I am playing, I believe I have it set to August 10th of this year, 2024. That's the day I chose with my random number. So keep an eye on my mirror because I have another group of cars closing on me. Seems like we're gonna get hounded from behind here non-stop. Yeah, I'm happy I thought of this method of doing random weather because I don't want to know myself exactly what the weather's going to be, so it always felt weird to set weather patterns. But I don't, as we oversteer a bunch there, just caught it. I don't like random weather in this game because it's truly random, and it just...
Okay, Jake, don't let this guy distract you. P9, that was a 211.30.
Going from thunderstorm to completely sunny to thunderstorm again might make sense in Brazil or something, but not...
Air temperature's falling.
Not everywhere.
It's now 13 Celsius.
Alright, we're in 14th, one position worse than I was before pit stop started originally. I don't know where I lost that position. It could be all the modded cars. Maybe they've got big full fuel tanks as we lock it up there into the comb. Come on. That was a big mistake there. Big lockup on the right front as well. Alright, I won't panic, Jim.
Is pitting.
Oh, interest. So the leader's pitting, so that's has to be one of the modded cars. So they've been able to make it maybe 35 minutes without pitting.
Schneider is now in the lead.
So we've got cars pitting once. It looks like we've got cars like myself trying to do this on 2, and it seems like a majority of the cars have done the 3, and that at least feels like it would be viable because the lower fuel, I think they're just a little bit quicker. Still crazy line there through the chicane, although one of them jumps in the pits.
P9, you've just done a 211.62. The track temperature's decreasing. It's now 25 Celsius.
Gaining temp, losing temp. See if we can catch up again to Lister in front of me here. Cool seeing the real names. This set of cars from RTV or STV Robin, that's the name on the skin pack. It's kind of an amalgamation of drivers from, I think, mostly the 97 season, but not quite everything, as I almost locked them up again there. But right on the back of this Porsche now. Seeing the name Lister, I want the Lister Storm in AMS2. That would be so cool. So the sun has risen now. Just seeing it peeking over the hill there. We're at 24 minutes to go, so we'll actually make it quite a bit further past 20 minutes, and I hate that I locked up the right front because it would be kind of nice to not change tires on this last stop, but we'll see how they feel the lap before I pit. Maybe we'll just keep these tires on and try to take the short pit stop, see what that does to my position. But if I'm having trouble staying caught up with these guys now, then it's going to be really tricky with old tires.
Schneider is pitting.
There it is.
Bootson is now leading.
Like I mentioned, every time I do a accelerated time race, that I just love the morning time after the long night. The nights always feel so long in these races. So the Porsche in front stays out, I'll stay out as well. Got 21
P6.
liters. Should be enough for at least a couple more laps. Slow there. It's a freebie up to 9th. Car making a mistake. It's very cool. I do have AI mistakes still on 0.5. It seems like there's been plenty of mistakes, so I don't think I'd want to set it any higher. Because it's quite foggy now. There's some fog coming in here, and I wonder if it's going to throw a wrench into things late here and just start raining. That would really spice it up. Imagine.
Okay, Jake, we estimate you've got 5 minutes of fuel remaining.
Right, at least one more lap then. Well, I hope if it's going to rain, it better decide to do it here soon, as it very much looks like it might.
Is gaining on you. The gap's now 0.6.
It's got a whole string of cars behind that I just noticed. Oh, I really hope it decides what it's going to do here in the next lap. It might just be foggy though, because
don't be pressured.
I still see the sun.
The leader, Bootson, is pitting.
More cars pitting, going in for their final stop, I'd guess.
McNish is now in the lead.
Oh, that Porsche in front takes a wild line to get into the pits there.
P3, the lap time was at 2:11.08.
Seems like I'm stuck right in these 211s. Yeah, the sun is still poking through, so it's just that Ardennes fog, which I guess Spa knows all too well. Looks very cool. It's a really cool condition that I don't think I've seen before. It's the kind of stuff the real world weather will give you. It's just new experiences, and I like to keep it fresh like that. You can do multiple races, and they'll each be a little bit different, which I love. I know some folks like to recreate exactly a race, and you can do that too with the weather, obviously. You know, set it to the actual date that a race was on, and hopefully you get those conditions. But if you want to use this as a plausible but not an exact recreation, using just a random day in a similar month will give you something maybe fresh.
Gap to McNish. Ahead is now 10 seconds.
Alright, it's clearing up now. That was just some morning fog, I guess, we're going through. I love that.
Alright, Jake, we're running on fumes, mate.
Right.
In this lap, box
we will
this
pit this time. I'm going to change tires. I think, I know we'll get some folks in the comments saying you shouldn't have, but I just don't think these tires would make it the rest of the way. And I'm already just barely keeping up with these two guys behind me.
This is great. That's 20 minutes to go.
So we'll put new tires on and then see what I can give it.
When we exit the pits, we'll be in P14 behind Matrese. The pit crew's ready. Very little fuel left. Come into the pits at the end of this lap. Box this lap.
Alright, it's a beautiful day now. Not a cloud in the sky.
The leader, McNish, is pitting. Air temps rising. It's now 50.
McNish is pitting as well right now. So we'll have to see. I mean, he should come out a little bit before me.
What's your speed limit in the pits?
Get the limiter on. It's probably a little bit fast for this, but all right, we'll stop there. Didn't overshoot this time, which is great. We'll get the guys to fill up. McNish is, I think, the car right behind me, I'd imagine. Maybe. Alright, the Porsche leaves behind me. Just waiting. Come on.
We're done.
There we go. Use a little bit of that rubber on the rears.
There's traffic behind. Watch your mirrors.
We'll try to fire these tires up and get them out. I think a few of the cars I came in with, though, took just about as long of a pit stop, so they probably changed tires as well. We're in 15th now. I don't know what's going on with the strategy. We'll try to heat these tires up. Sometimes you see this in modern racing a lot. I feel like you never saw folks do this back in the day. But, whoa, it slows me down maybe. Either that or this car behind's got a great run. All right, maybe not ideal to swerve on the straight like that. Probably get a calling to the steward's office for it. I could have sworn this car just came out of the pits with me, but clearly it's got a little more grip.
Air temperature's increasing. It's now 18 Celsius.
Come on, tires. So we've got Thomas behind Yannick, I believe.
Okay, Jake. Don't let this guy distract you.
Some speed here. Not fully out of slipstream range from the car in front, but a lot of understeer coming onto the straight. So easy to spin on that curve as well. You gotta be careful with that one. Love to get back up into 15th, at least finish halfway up the field. Just through Blanchimont, right out to the grass. There was something on the track there for a moment because of the shadows.
P11, the track temperature is increasing. It's now 28 Celsius.
So we've got five of the non-stock cars, the modded cars in front of us.
Bush shoots in. The gap is now 0.
Yeah,
1, 2, 3.
definitely see that. So they're going to be a little bit quicker up Eau Rouge, but didn't lose that much this time. Not had too much success catching folks on the Kemmel Straight, but this might be the first time up to 6th gear. Yeah, that would be a tough one to outbrake without outbraking myself. We'll keep right on him here, though, through Lacombe.
Air temp's increasing. It's now 20 Celsius.
Boy, he has a snap oversteer there. Throw it up the inside. Oh, a bit of contact. Oh, come on. Close the door. We've seen that before. I was able to get it going quite quick, but there were so many cars behind us that, man, went from 16th to 23rd.
Okay, Jake, relax, focus, keep it smooth. 15 minutes left.
So this is what Jim is good for. It makes me calm down. We gotta try to get some of these spots back. Everybody's real packed up back here, and they weren't right behind me, so I don't think I was the one responsible for that. I could be wrong. I don't think I damaged my tires too bad with that spin.
Slow in, fast out. Keep the inside line covered.
I want to say I had that spot, though, and it was a classic case of close the door. So we have, looks like Martin Brundle coming up behind to put us a lap down. Oh, no. Big spin in front, just miss him.
P17.
Ooh. The AI seem to have problems with the exit of the bus stop, at least in these cars, but luckily got away with that one. All right, right up behind these two now. done before the comb, but just not able to carry the speed through Eau Rouge with the setup I have. But I had to remove all the wings to have any shot of being as fast down the straight. McLaren in front, try to pinch him off there in the corner. You can pinch off if you get to the outside of a car. They'll have to slow down to make a corner, kind of do the over-under. Big slide there. Hey, we might not be racing for first, but at least I'm racing somebody. Sometimes at the end of a longer race, you find yourself just alone on track, which has certainly not been the case for this one.
Chance here, keep harrying him.
Nice exit onto the straight here. There we go. Whoa, the left side's the long way around there, but it becomes the short way. It's the Porsche in front just gonna get in my way. We'll be side by side coming into Blanchimont. It's the McLaren. Big guts there. Very brave.
Car in front of us is Scott.
I think we got another spinner in front. Man. Just able to save that. He was just about to loop it around in front too.
Temperature's rising. It's now 33 Celsius.
Well, it's a little disappointing that the AI can't handle that, but it could be the skin pack. I am using the driver ratings that came with it, and they might not be tuned to 1.6, but I haven't had this trouble at other tracks, so I think it's something specific to this combo. It's one of those little things. Very, very bad there through Eau Rouge.
Hold your nerve, just keep it smooth, no mistakes. Air temperature's increasing, it's now 22 Celsius.
Did lock up the tires quite a bit trying to avoid that spinning car. Well, I'm not sure which one. I'm not really seeing it on the gauge, so maybe just barely. We'll hope this time through it's nice and clean through there. Although these three in front I think are going to do their best to make that not the case. Slide it out of No Name there, down to Pouan.
Is pitting now.
Oh, we got some cars pitting with 10 minutes to go. I don't know if we're close enough to catch a car that's in the pits unless they're doing a big stop, but this late in the race.
This
late in the race, you don't have to take too much fuel. Nice exit again.
10 minutes remaining.
Try the right side this time, I guess. Comes the long way, but able to get side by side with two cars. Follow the Nissan here, squeeze out the car behind a little bit. Whoa, understeer. Didn't find the apex there. I missed the turn in, really. Saved it though, as we'll lock up and miss the bus stop. Had some gravel on the tires, no doubt. Another car stopped, maybe the same one still.
Don't panic, you got time to sort this out. P15.
It's all falling apart at the end, but we got cars pitting and everything. Cars coming out of the pits there. Probably could have been right with that car pitting or coming out had I not spun. We're in 20th now overall. To go. It's fun. It's challenging. I mean, obviously these cars, I think it's very clear that they're a little more on edge than they used to be.
The gap to Goodwin in front is now 1.4 seconds.
I think that's only a good thing, that they punish you more for doing. I don't feel like any of the mistakes that I've made so far were ones that I shouldn't have been punished for.
Scott.
It's a bit disappointing that some of the AI mistakes, especially the ones they continually make in the bus stop.
The gap to Baldi behind is increasing. It's now 2.2.
But I'm still having a lot of fun with this. It's a fight to the end, and I still want to try to get in front of these cars at least. Try to get back up decently into that top 20 and close to halfway up the field. That would be ideal here. So we'll see what we can do in the last 8 minutes. Should be about 3 laps, I would think. Depends where the leader is. We'll hopefully have enough fuel. I would just put icing on the cake. We should have more than enough. With 40 liters, 7 minutes. As long as we don't have to do 2 extra laps, we should be good. Alright, we'll make Blanchimont this time. I just missed the turn in being right behind the Nissan last time through there. Alright, all these guys nose to tail. We'll see what they do here. Yeah, there's a big tank slap we're exiting.
That lap time was 2:09.90. That's your best lap in this session.
I haven't raced any other cars here since the update. I'd be interested to see if the Formula cars have the same issue. Hopefully not. Alright, nice exit out of La Source. We'll probably lose a little bit of that here through Eau Rouge and Raidillon. About it there, the inside of the McLaren. A little too fast on the entry, had to catch the rear end. Almost doing a 4-wheel drift there coming out.
Scott, ahead is increasing. It's now 0.9. Okay, Jake, 10 minutes of fuel remaining. Soper is pitting from position 1. You should come out a little way behind you. The leader, Soper, is pitting.
The leader pitting with just over 5 minutes to go.
Schneider is leading the race.
I do have it on 2X. I do have some modded cars in this. So it's tough to tell if this is just inherent in how it's all working, but we'll see if we actually do end up in front of him. It's gonna be close. It would have to just be a splash and dash at this point. Oh, one of the other cars pits as well.
13th place.
A bit of a run on this McLaren.
210.06. The track temps
running really deep.
It's now 38 Celsius.
Really deep there into La Source.
5 minutes to go. 5 minutes left. Come on, head up. Keep your focus further down the track.
Back up to 16th. No telling where I'd be if we didn't have that spin earlier. Or the runoff. Whoa, big understeer. Come on. McLaren's going to have a huge run on me. Side by side into the braking for Lacombe. He lets off quite early.
Defend your position. Don't let him through.
It's clouding up just a little bit here towards the end, but it looks like we avoided any kind of wet weather, which for Spa is pretty remarkable. I do find the races overall just go a little bit better if there isn't wet weather. So run a little wide through No Name. So I'm gonna have to do my best to try to keep this car behind. I feel my tires wearing out, and some of that the spin, the lockups, it's that abuse That left front you can see is just a little bit lower on the wear gauge compared to the right front. It's likely I locked up that left front just a little bit. Coming to 3 minutes to go though, so I think a couple more laps. A lot of understeer. I'm just not able to do good speed through Blanchimont. Trying to carry speed through the bus stop though. Now that I'm not following anybody too close, able to pull out a little bit on that McLaren, come across the line.
P11.
Up to 11th. Got excited there for a second. 11th in class, but it's 16th overall. Love jumping on the throttle coming out of this source. I do like the sound of these cars. I don't know how authentic they are, but they make you feel like you have a lot of power. Much better through Eau Rouge and Radeon that time. I feel like I'm just a little bit better at the top of the hill here. I'll lose them towards the bottom.
2 minutes to go, 2 minutes.
2 minutes, 20 liters. Should be more than enough on fuel. Missed the downshift there. Using the sequential stick, which is I think how these cars would have been. I don't think it would have been paddle shifts, but I could be wrong. Chasing the rear end there.
Estimate you've got 5 minutes of fuel remaining.
I felt like I was catching the two in front for a minute there, but I think I'm on my best lap of the race so far. We'll see if that exit onto the straight here messed it up. Really sit on the tires there through Blanchimont. Taking advantage of the track through the bus stop. Oh, the Porsche in front gets real loose. Allow me to catch up to him as we come down to La Source.
Okay, Jake, we're matching race pace.
He faded to the inside just a little bit there. I think the AI do block now, but was able to get around him there.
Keep it up.
Big slide. So get on the throttle up to 15th. Got one more spot directly in front of me as we're running the clock out now. I don't know if this will be the last lap or if we'll do one more, but we'll treat it as if it's the last one. Gonna gain a bit in the slipstream here, but not gonna be able to get him for Lacombe. Hop off the curb there. You don't really want to do that because it pushes you off the apex. So he ran a little bit wide there. Do I do it again? Contact again, a little less committed that time though. So locked up the tire, but now's the time to use what you've got left.
You're reeling this car in. The gap's now 0.25.
Wasn't as committed, but I think it avoided another big accident. They just like to turn in on me there. You won't be able to see it maybe in the video so much, but there's little bits of rubber flying off the car in front, bouncing off the windscreen and things. And it's really cool. I imagine maybe in VR that would be unreal.
Very little fuel left.
Yeah, we're getting very low on fuel. We should have enough to do one more lap if we have to, but I think I got it perfect.
We're running on fumes, mate.
It's all right, Jim. It might end this time, and I'm just going to be right here with him. So call up to Blanchimont. Be able to do it through there. That was a very low percentage move. Try to chase it through the chicane. He's going to run a bit wide like they do. come side by side of the line.
10th position.
Oh, we do get one more lap.
That was 209.60.
Set him up for the outside.
Decreasing. It's now 33 Celsius.
Whoa, almost bounced off the tires there. Dang, I could have had him if I got a good exit there. Come on. All right, final lap. He's gonna get that big run on me coming out of Radon, but we'll see if we can get him down into the corner. Dance it through Lacombe, missed the left side apex. Oh, bounce off that curb as well, right on him. All right, really late on the brakes that time. We're gonna push each other wide.
Nice one, Jake. Great move. Keep it up.
Fighting for 14th position like it's the win. But I just feel like I had to get a move done there. I've tried it a few times in this race. Finally got one. Not exactly clean, but we'll take it. All right, run away. They won't be happy about that.
The gap to Lamy ahead is increasing.
2.8 liters.
6.4 seconds.
Gonna be right on the fuel. Better not run out again. I'm gonna get a reputation here.
Don't let this guy intimidate you.
Not at all. All right, come through. Double right-hander.
2 liters remaining.
That's not a lot of fuel. We're just gonna make it down the straight. Oh my God, are we gonna run out? About a 1 liter left. Is it gonna sputter? Lift and coast just a little bit there. 0.5, 4. Oh my God. Try to just carry some speed through the bus stop. Get it up. Oh, there it is. Clutch and coast. They're gonna squeak by.
P9.
Oh my God, one of them did.
Off the pace. The track temperature is increasing. It's now 39 Celsius.
All right, I think we're done. Well, we're definitely done. They're running away from me like the time didn't run out, and I don't know why that wouldn't have been the end of the race. But I guess we'll have to call it there because I'm not going to go any further. I'm not sure why the race hasn't ended yet. What a weird one. The AI were not great, but they were kind of entertaining for it. And this is an awesome combo to drive. They were doing this a little bit on LFM, Low Fuel Motorsports. So if you want to race some other folks with these cars, you can. I guess we'll park it here at the bottom of the hill. Interesting race. Not exactly what I had hoped, but hopefully entertaining nonetheless. 1.6 has been a lot of fun with AMS2. I'll probably be back in here pretty soon with something else. So if you have any suggestions, let me know. I'll be happy to try something else. But for now, this is it. This has been GP Laps, and I'll see you all again next time.